Good afternoon, and it's late afternoon today. It's Sunday the 5th of May, and it's the bank holiday weekend here in the UK. I actually didn't know that because I don't take part in the standard working week anymore, and I was at the garden centre this morning actually at oh God, I can never remember the name of this place. But anyway, it's one of the commercial garden centres and they had a bank holiday special 20% discount. And I thought, good gracious, it's bank holiday tomorrow. I just didn't remember. Anyway, as promised, from a little short that I did yesterday, I want to talk about yogurt today and how I only eat homemade yogurt now, and it's been a huge trial and error to get it right. A lot of help from my mum, who is very good at making homemade yogurt, and I could never get the temperature right. And it was always about trying to get the right temperature that the yogurt needs to breed at. That's actually all the bacteria in the lactobacillus and all the different bacteria, so that it forms this lovely solid texture, probiotic homemade food, which is so good for your health and for your gut, amongst so many other things as well. So without further ado, let me switch over and just show you the made yogurt. And here we go. Right. Here it is. So the first thing I want to show you, this is the pan. It's a saucepan actually that I got from India many years ago, or from an Indian shop, but definitely not in this country. It's got a kind of copper base to it, which conducts heat very well and therefore holds the heat. And I think that really helps, although it's not necessary. My mum doesn't use one of those. Now, if you look at the top, can you see it's got that kind of cream look over the top? Now, I've used an unhomogenized milk, but before I explain that, I just want to cut into it. And let me just see if I can show you. There you go. And look how solid it is. And there's that layer of cream at the top. This is what it looks like inside. It's actually come out just perfect. Probably the best I have ever made. It doesn't have too much liquid in it. A little bit, which is fine. But I'm really, really delighted with this. And I'm going to take a little bit of jaggery. This is jaggery here. This is a full molasses sugar that's made in India. And it's made from the, what is it called? Oh gosh, my brain isn't working at 5 o'clock in the afternoon, but made from the sugar palm. Oh, what is it called? It's just left me now. Anyway, it'll come back to me. I'll put it into the description. And then it's processed to a degree, but it's still very raw molasses, and it's not been refined, you can see, and it's quite bitter to the taste, which tells me straight away that it's got some good nutritional qualities. Sugar cane, that's it. That's what I wanted to. This is not palm sugar. This is sugar cane. There is a palm sugar molasses that's made, and I had that in Malaysia, which is just as delicious, but this is kind of a bit different. And I'm going to put a little bit of this on the top, like that. You can also use honey. I would never use modern commercial sugar. And then I'm just going to try it, especially the bit with the cream here. Here goes. You know, I'm not just saying this. It's so good. It's got a very tart taste to it, which it needs. It needs to have that sourness, which is a really good live yogurt. But it's got that cream on the top. Now, I've made this with unhomogenized milk. It's not raw milk. I have got raw milk. There's something wrong with this. Let me just clean it up. Yeah, that's better. I have got raw milk, but I've used unhomogenized milk here, which is milk that has been pasteurized commercially, unfortunately, but it has not been homogenized. Now, homogenization is the process that takes place where they vibrate the milk to such a high degree that the actual nature of the milk, well, it denatures the milk and it separates the proteins from the fats. And as far as I am concerned, from what I have read, and that's extensively, the process of homogenization is what has destroyed the human microbiome when it comes to those that have become intolerant to milk and many other things, because you've denatured the essence of the milk, which arguably is already denatured by the commercial pasteurization process. You see, real pasteurization, the original pasteurization, if we go back to India where my mother and father were born, and they had buffalo milk, and a farmer would come along with pails and they would buy this warm milk straight out of the buffalo, and then my grandmother would put it on the stove it would be like a clay pot, and they would gently heat it, very gently, until it slowly comes to the boil. And what that does is kills all the bacteria, the pathogens in the milk, but it retains its nutritional integrity and doesn't kill the good bacteria. What they do here in the West now is they pasteurize it by heating it very quickly to high temperatures, which then kills everything. All the goodness in the milk is dead. And then if that isn't enough, they then homogenize it. And I've just explained what that is, which actually denatures it completely, because when it goes into your body, your cells are thinking, is this a protein or is it a fat? What do I do with it? Because it's all been blended into one. That's why homogenized milk, you don't have the cream sitting on the top, because they've mixed it all up, thinking that they're lying to you, that they've done you a favour. I would even argue they've taken half the cream out, so that the elites can have that, you see, and they just give us the rest. Let's not talk about semi-skimmed or skimmed milk, because you may as well be drinking poison with those two made up categories of milk-like substances. So I'm using unhomogenized here because I had some in the freezer, and otherwise I would have used raw milk. I'm not completely happy with the raw milk I'm buying at the moment. There seems to be a change in it because I can sense it, and I'm not sure what they're putting in it. So I'm just a little bit wary of that at the moment. I'm always questioning everything, and I'm always aware, just because it says raw milk, I taste it, I feel it, I have an understanding, something doesn't feel right. And this unhomogenized, to me, is far more authentic than the raw milk that I'm buying. But that's a story for another day. Now, how to make yogurt. Look, go and get a pen and paper and write this down, because I'm going to share it with you, and it's taken me months to get it right, and it may take you the same length of time. So easy once you know how. So, about a pint of milk, get a saucepan. You can see the one that I've got. You want one that's kind of a little bit wider, not too narrow, but just a regular saucepan like this. It can have a handle, it doesn't matter. And you pour the milk into it, and you put it on your smallest hob, if it's an electric one, on your lowest heat, and let it gently come up to the boil. Make sure the milk you use is whole, full cream milk. There's no point making yogurt with semi-skim milk. You're wasting your time, because semi-skim milk is poison. You need the fat. The fat is so important in milk and also in yogurt. Any of you who think fat makes you fat, I'm afraid you are ignorant, and you need to do some research and homework, because you've been watching too much mainstream nonsense and lies. So do your homework. I'll put a name of a book down below, which I found very, very useful, by Dr Aseem Malhotra, who, by the way, I'm not an advocate of anymore since 2020. But before that, he wrote a very, very good book, which I learned a lot about heart health. And I think it's in that book he discusses raw milk. There are many books, but it's a good book, so I'm going to write it down. But I'm not. That doesn't mean I'm an advocate of him, because I change my mind often when I'm made aware of different things, and I won't talk about that one right now. So you heat it until it's just gently bubbling, and then you allow it to gently bubble. Make sure that it's not going to overflow and overboil. So you'll see the cream kind of bubbling, the milk boiling underneath the cream as it's trying to rise to the top of the saucepan. So you just gently blow it down or use a little spoon. Don't keep mixing it. Don't mix it, for that matter. Now, alongside, while you've got the milk, go and buy some live yogurt. Now, I'm not talking about your Greek yogurt or Rachel's organic rubbish, because that is rubbish. It's been kind of whipped so many times that it tastes creamy, but it has no nutritional integrity. Go to any supermarket or an Indian store and get their cheapest full fat live yogurt, kind of slightly sour. That's what you want to get. Now, I know in the UK you can get them everywhere. You can go to Sainsbury's or Tesco's, and you can go to their ethnic section and you'll find live yogurt there in a tub. I don't know about the States, but I'm sure there are Indian stores where you can get live yogurt. And all you do is take a spoonful, let's say a tablespoonful, a dessert spoonful, a blob, and put it, this is what I do now. This is important, this part. I put that into a cup and I mix it up so it's kind of not lumpy. And I'll leave it to come to room temperature, which it does while the milk is gently boiling. Now, when you've allowed the milk to boil, let's say for 5 or 10 minutes, switch off the heat. And now you just have to wait. Go off and do something else. Don't sit there and looking at the saucepan. Right? You're wasting your time. Go and do something else. But you come back when the milk is just at the temperature where you put your finger in, and it's just warm to the touch, not hot, just warm. And you may not get it right the first time. I didn't. It doesn't matter. So then what you do, once it's warm to the touch, you'll find there's cream on the top. Just shift the cream to the side, take a few spoons of that milk out and mix it into the yogurt so that it's kind of nice and runny. And then you pour that mixture into the saucepan and just gently with a spoon, don't mix the whole thing, just gently, everything is gentle, be very gentle. Have respect for the milk, for the food. Think about the energy behind it. Yeah, don't rush it, and just gently stir it in. That's it, and then take the spoon out. Then you cover it. And then you put it into a warm place at about 35 degrees, something like that. Now, what I do is I switch my oven on. It's just so that it's just turned on. So it's not even 100 degrees or anything like that. It's just turned on so it's slightly warm. And I cover the yogurt with a lid and I put it in the oven. Now, there are many people that would cover the yogurt and put a tea towel over it and put it into their boiler room. If you've got that, then do it. It's warm in there. You've got to test it out. You know, when I was last making this batch, I couldn't help but remember the systems biology that I'm learning from Dr. Shiva Ayyadurai, where he talks about everything as a system. And one of the examples he gives is a heating thermostat. So with the yogurt, I'm thinking I've got to get the heating right. And this is where I've got my input. I know what I'm putting in. I've got my structure, which is the pan with the milk in it. And now I've got to navigate the temperatures. It's like a thermostat. That's the sensory part of it, where I'm trying to get the temperature right, and it's practice so that eventually the output that comes out is this yogurt. It's never going to be perfect, but you're always striving towards getting better, striving towards perfection. That's the key. That's a success. So you've got to try it your own way. It's not energy efficient to turn the oven on. When it's warmer, and the weather here, I'm in the UK, it's always cold. When the weather here is warmer, I won't be using the oven. It's an electric oven, but remember, it's only on just a tiny, it's not even on, it's just turned on so that it heats up. I then put the saucepan in with the lid on, and I just leave that on for about 15 minutes and then turn it off. And every now and again, if I'm in the house, I'll turn it back on. Turn it off, turn it on. Sometimes I'll just leave it on. I'll turn it on to about 30 when it's warm, and then turn it back down again, just slightly down, and then put it in and just leave it there. You've got to work it out. I've sussed out my oven. I've sussed out the temperature. I've sussed out the method by making lots of mistakes. My mother's given me a lot of tips in terms of the yogurt and the milk. And now when I make the yogurt, I don't use commercial yogurt. I take a bit of this yogurt and keep it for the next batch. And it's got better and better and tastier and tastier. And it's such a wonderful probiotic because it's homemade. And as each batch is made, and I'm making it with my own milk and my own yogurt, my unhomogenized milk and yogurt, is getting better, and it's got my energy and my input in it. And I'm controlling the whole process myself. I'm kind of the controller, you could say. I kind of have a very systems mind now. I had it before, but now it's a very keen, I think of everything as a system. It's very, very powerful education. So that's the yogurt for you. And then you leave it in there. And then what I do is I do this in the morning. I leave it in there. And then in the evening, I switch the oven off completely. I don't touch it. I don't look. I just leave it alone. Go to sleep. And in the morning, early in the morning when I come down, I take it out of the oven. I look at it, just gently have a look and think, that looks good. I might try it, or I'll just put it in the fridge. And this is what I've done. I made it 2 days ago, and I've just shared the first tasting with you, and it's come out very, very good indeed. So have a go and just go out and get some live yogurt. And if you've got time, in the comments, let me know how you do with it. The key here isn't just to watch what I've done, it's to go and do it. Go and make your own yogurt and eat it. Yogurt is fantastic, great for breakfast, great even with certain meals. We have yogurt with it because it has a very cooling effect in the body. When we've had too much chili, what we tend to do is have a little bit of yogurt with jaggery, and that calms down the chili in the tongue. We also make lassi with it, which is a wonderful drink in the summer, which is made with whipped yogurt and water and ice, and you blend it to a degree so that all the yogurt mixes in with the water, so it's just one, and it's so cooling and nourishing for the body. You add a little bit of salt, a little bit of cumin for more of a sour taste, or you can add a little bit of sugar or jaggery, something like that, to give it a sweeter taste. It's just delicious, and it's a great thirst quencher because of the fat globules in the water mixed with the water hold the moisture in your body for longer. Far, far better than just drinking water alone. So many things to learn. Anyway, the next couple of days I need to be out in the sun. It's raining tomorrow. We've got a greyed out day on the lunar calendar, and then it's a very, very busy week. We're coming up to the new moon in the next couple of days, I think. I will be fasting probably Tuesday and Wednesday. I always fast on the new moon. The energy of the new moon is very, very powerful for those who fast because it helps pull out the toxins. And the other reason I do it is that it just brings me a lot closer to my maker. You can call it God, you can call it the mind behind the universe, your source connection. But when my gut is empty, I have a lot of time when I'm contemplating and thinking, and the system of my body has just stopped working, that system, the mechanical system, and the focus seems to be on the right brain and on my source connection. That's what fasting does. It really brings you close to your source. So aside from all the health benefits, to have some kind of a fasting regimen. Whether I dry fast, so I don't eat or drink from sunrise to sunset for 2 days a month. But I also intermittent fast, where I don't eat breakfast until 10 o'clock. So basically I will only eat from the hours 10 to 6. And outside those hours, I don't eat anything. Yes, I'll have tea or coffee in the morning only, and a coffee that I make with proper ground coffee, like a mocha. And I will have a hot milk before I go to bed, which is quite early. When the sun goes down, I go down with it. So it's normally, now it's kind of around 9 o'clock, 9 o'clock. But then I'm up at 4. That's how to live. That's the way of life to live, because you're living with your circadian biology and the circadian rhythm of the sun and the moon. And you become a very powerful human being if you're able to live this way of life. Just try it. But remember also to keep your body moving and take action. So till tomorrow, bye for now.